Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, people. Good morning. I hope you guys can hear me. Good morning. Yes, it's very early in the morning. Uh, couldn't really sleep. Yes, this is Spirit Journey, and today is the day after Easter in New York City. Today is April 10, 2023, and um, it's approaching 2:30 in the morning. 2:30 a.m. How are you all doing? I hope all is well. Yeah, I want to talk about a few things. Yeah, I went and visited some family in New York City where I live. I wanted to spend time this Easter, and I did a video about a day ago. And Easter is it's a very triggering day for me. It conjures up a lot of memories, childhood memories. And I see that the lens here looks kind of blur. I don't know why the lens looks kind of blurry. Okay, oh, okay, see that? Now it's clearer. Yeah, now that looks better. Um, but it just has this appeal to me, like a love-hate. Conjures up memories in elementary school for me, my fourth grade. Um, and we used to have to like draw little things for Easter, and we got these little baskets, and we were given like this fake grass to put in, toy grass, and I think we were given like little jelly beans or something to put in it. But yeah, yeah, some people will call it a pagan holiday. Yes, it is. It uses a lot of I think traditional belief systems because again, this is springtime and things are happening during spring. Yes, it's a time of fertility. You're right. Um, in New York City, where I live, the trees are already blooming, and you see the buds of some of the plants growing. Yeah, about a month ago, actually. It's fantastic. I'm fascinated with the change of seasons. Always have been. It's really interesting when you really notice change and change that gives a feeling of hope. Yeah, and I do enjoy seeing flowers bloom, things like that. And yes, the people in traditions, indigenous traditions, uh, realize this too, and they have the traditions of about fertility stuff, you know. But then this is Easter, that on the surface, in Christian circles, commemorating alongside with what do you call it, Passover, because again, it's um, about uh, Jesus that you learn about in the New Testament, that people call it, um, his death and resurrection. And it's supposed to be celebrating his resurrection day from the dead, according to Christianity. So, but in the Bible, this resurrection day happened during Passover. And it's interesting, Passover and Easter celebration is happening, is overlapping. Yeah, Passover started last Wednesday and Easter's on Sunday. So it's really interesting that the holidays, the two holidays coincide. So that's interesting. But either way, this video is not about teaching theology or anything like that. And again, you are entitled to your own spiritual practices or religious practices. But it's just one of those um, understandings that I have because I never used to parallel the two holidays. I thought of them as two separate events, but understanding that actually the the history of uh, the New Testament with the Christ was actually alongside during Passover, according to uh, Jewish traditions. So I'm just noticing it and understanding that where the two play in. But either way, New York City in the 1970s, when I was a child, um, celebrated this holiday, Easter holiday, with a lot of things of we had to draw little pictures and things like that, and that appeals to me as a thinking back as a child. But I want to now talk about like Easter is very different now. As I mentioned in my last video of the Easter Eve, people it's almost forgotten, it seems. Um, some of the stores, department stores may um, have some of the traditional, they like to use bunny rabbits, pictures of rabbits and eggs and things like that, which actually represent fertility. But it was out there. It was part of the culture, the cultural scene, based on commercialism, of course. But it was still out there. And it was there to appeal to the youth. Now, it's virtually forgotten here in New York City, in Manhattan. And it kind of makes me sad. I mean, I'm not someone about religion, but it's still a day that I was exposed to growing up in New York City. It was all in your face. But now the demographics has changed in New York City. Um, yeah, people with different traditions, and my hometown now has a very, very large Muslim community. And so it's not a part of that tradition. So yeah, so you don't see it at all. You don't see any evidence, and um, the community of people that you may have in the past noticed, the Black community in the outer boroughs, and again, the borough that I was coming from is Queens, New York. Queens, New York, one of the five boroughs, and over the years, you still see that community that I'm a part of. You would see them walking to and from church, and in particular, the little girls would have their party dresses on. I always would notice the yellows, and I wore yellow yesterday. Yeah, I wore leggings, colorful leggings, and then my yellow top. For me, Easter represents the yellow. I remember those seeing yellow all the time. Or they were pink, light pinks, things like that. Um, yeah, I like the pastel colors actually. It just reminds me of when I was a child. And it would be the day after Easter. In the playground, the girls wanted people to see that they got a new dress, and they wear the party dresses. And I remember them playing in the playground with these dresses. That's what I remember. But honey, now you don't see any evidence of that. And again, the area where I live, where I was raised in, the demographics change. You have people from other parts of the Americas and Asia, and that those holidays really aren't presented that way. So I didn't see it. I saw maybe one or two people that got on the bus in Queens. One an older man in his 70s or 80s wearing his Sunday best. Yeah, he looked real old school boy. His shoes were very polished and clean. He wore a suit, and but everything else was very quiet, very quiet on the bus. Not that many people out there. Yeah, this was like maybe 10:30, 11 in the morning, and you don't really see any evidence of any celebration, especially going my hometown. And yeah, I took the bus. You know, after the train, I took the bus. It's a real short bus ride, like a 5 to 7 minute uh, bus ride. And yeah, I did press the bell to get off the bus. And you know, I thought the bus was gonna stop, and because when it's computerized the bus, and it said, okay, the next stop is such and such and such and such. It's like a computer message. So I thought it was going to stop. Well, it didn't. So I said, hey, I rang the bell. Next stop, next stop, next stop. I said it real loud. So I get up. I had these packages, and I usually actually get up and walk towards the door, but the packages was heavy. So I thought to myself, let me just remain seated, and once the bus comes to a stop, to get up because I don't want to fall. So, but when I saw the bus kept on going, that's when I called her, hey, you know, I pressed the bell, you know, please stop. So then I got up and the bus was in motion and it looked like he was going to pull over. Well, instead of pulling over, he pulls away from the curb and then continues on. I say, hey, I please stop. Yeah. So he finally stops. So now I have to walk about a block and a half to where I'm going. So I get home, you know, to get to my family. And yeah, so now, you know, I greet everyone. Brought flowers over. Yeah, I wanted to bring flowers over. They were pretty. They were white and red roses with these purple little flowers. They looked nice. So I put in the vase. I gave it to my mom. I, yeah, you know, my mother is getting up there. She's 94 now, 94, and you know, I really wanted to get to see her, because you know, how many more Easters will there be for any of us these days? And so I really wanted to, you know, because my mother used to make meals for us, you know, Easter dinner. She'd make a big feast, yeah. Easter, Christmas, and Thanksgiving were holidays where it'd be a lot of food, you know. And so now, you know, my mother doesn't cook. You know, we have to cook for her. And so, yeah, so I brought over food to prepare for her and other people that were there. You know, just one other person that was there. And I wanted to just kind of like reach out that, you know, to celebrate. Again, I'm not a pagan, but you know, it's a day. It's a day that I get to see family, and that's all it's about to me. It's not about pushing pagan holiday, and if you're pagan, that's your business. But either way, I wanted to, you know, see family and enjoy family, no matter what day it is. So that's what I did yesterday. And I watched a movie. Yeah, I got to see the new Avatar movie, The Way of the Water.
Oh,
It started out um, kind of slow. A lot of it I didn't care for, but it started picking up the movie towards the end, and it got me a little emotional. Yeah, I'm one of those people who watch movies and sometimes I cry. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I can get emotional watching a movie. Yeah. So some aspects of the movie I did enjoy, but nothing like the first Avatar, people. Yes, I love the first Avatar. But anyway, so that's basically what I did yesterday, Easter 2023. But in particular, what I really want to discuss, as I wrote in the description of this video, um, about what has happened. Like I'm from New York City, born and raised in New York City, in the borough of Queens. Okay, New York City is composed of five boroughs. They're Manhattan, Bronx, Staten Island, Queens, and Brooklyn. Okay, and I come from Queens, New York, born and raised there. Went to public schools, all that in Queens, and things are very divided in Queens. I think it's at Queens is the most ethnically diverse counties in the United States. At least in New York City, it's the most ethnically uh, representation. And but the town, the part of Queens that I'm from is heavily black. I know the term black doesn't have, people don't like using that term, but at least that's what we'll call. We'll call black folk, black people. But basically, the demographics within this black community, um, people who come from the South originally, the past 100 years come from the South, and many of us come from the Caribbean. Okay, that's basically, in my opinion, within the black communities. Okay, and but the demographics is changing, and again now it's when you take the bus and the train to Queens. I'm like the only black non-Hispanic that's there. Many people are from Central and South America or parts of Asia. And again, nothing wrong with any of these groups, but I'm just saying what's now represented. And sometimes I feel kind of like an outsider in my own hometown. I'm just being real. It's a weird feeling when the change in the demographics happens like overnight. It's changing that rapidly. And so it's just something that is becoming more and more prevalent. But either way, I had the opportunity. Yeah, this is what I really want to get into. I had an opportunity, like I met a young woman on the train. Yeah, I took the train and then I was to transfer, and take a bus to see family. And so I'm on the train, and like one or two stops after I get on, a young woman sits right next to me, and I was reading a book. Then she says, "Oh, what book are you reading?" So I show her the cover, and she seems very animated, happy, and eager to talk. And as you can tell, people, I like to talk. I used to be very, very shy and not talk. I know it might be surprising for many of you, but yeah, I used to be extremely shy, very timid, I should say. I was very timid with strangers. But my peers in school, like high school, I used to talk to them a lot. But outside of that, I was very timid. So, but as you can tell, I like to talk now. So this young lady, she was 19 years old, uh, black female, and she's dressed very clean. She's wore clean slack, that's those straight legs, a hoodie, and very clean sneakers. And she had like a hair weave, and she wore like a scarf around the hairline. And I don't know. I just started to like, she looks clean and friendly, and she wanted to, obviously she wanted to talk. So I show her the book, and then she takes her cell phone and takes a picture. Or she had the smartphone, and she takes a picture of the cover. And she starts to talk really fast. How yes, this is the part that's really interesting. Again, it was kind of hard at times to understand her, and I was starting to wonder: is she kind of balanced mentally? Just something just something started to rub me the wrong way. But I want, yeah, I like to talk, and I had a long way to get to where I had to go. So hey, let's have a talk. It wasn't that crowded on the train at all, and hey, let's talk. So she was trying to explain that um, she doesn't like associating with certain people. Um, People are changing, and they're all into their phone and blah blah blah. And she's saying everything that I've been saying for a while now in my social media, and how people are disconnected. And I was asked, oh, so you've read the book? And I thought she said yeah, and then she was asking questions as if that no, she didn't read the book, because then she said, oh, what it's about. So I said it's um, about a guy's awakening. Yeah, I'm reading a book now called One O, Oneo, and his name is, I think, Cornelius Christopher, and it's an autobiographical account starting from his childhood, and he comes to some type of awareness, and in one of the chapters he teaches how to meditate and have um, try to improve your life. And that's why I wanted to find out about his techniques of meditation to get results. And when I told something like that to the lady, the young 19-year-old, she says, oh wow, I'm interested in about self improvement and something. So I was going to elaborate about it. And then all of a sudden, that's when her behavior started to change. I started questioning. She immediately takes out her cell phone again to answer a text or something like that, or a DM. She doesn't say excuse me or anything like that. She just goes straight for the phone and just starts, typing away. So I just thought it was just going to be just a momentary, you know, no. So then I thought, okay, let me just continue my reading. But again, she had just said a moment ago how everyone's on their cell phone, and no one's communicating, all the right things, but she just now demonstrated that she is doing the same thing. So I started just continue reading, and then she puts it down after a minute or two, and then she wants to talk again. So I use that as an opportunity. Okay, let's continue the conversation. Maybe that was a very important text, whatever. And we talk about for like a minute, and then boom, she pulls out the cell phone again. Not saying excuse me or whatever. Again, this is a 19-year-old, should be 20 later on this year. And she just explained that uh, during COVID, the people, yeah, she is from South Jamaica, Queens. So actually, South Jamaica, Queens is where our current mayor, black mayor, comes from. This is such an extreme, South Jamaica, Queens is where the poor of poor black people live. Anybody familiar with South Jamaica, Queens, or is from South Jamaica, Queens? Oh, I see that my battery is running low. Let, let's see. Let me see if I can charge it. I'll put the battery on. Okay, sorry. Sorry about that. To put the battery in. Okay, almost done. Trying to get the plug it in now. Boy, I'm trying to find the hole in this. Come on, I'm trying to find it. Ah, won't go in. Let's see. Boy, I don't know why it's not going in the hole here. Just a moment. Okay, got it in there. Sorry about that. So I hope you can still hear me. Okay. So again, this person was just talking about the past 3 years, and what I hope you guys can hear me. It might be my mouth isn't as close to the mic because the cord is not long enough. But either way, this person was just talking about how she doesn't want to be around the people, the people around her age because of their behavior, and they're on their cell phone and this and that. But she also explained that there was severe violence. Severe violence. Yeah, South Jamaica, Queens is a poor neighborhood where it's a high concentration of blacks and, well, West Indian people. And the police do not want to go there. So this is where she lives. And I've been noticing more and more every time when I go to Queens, the people that I see, again, most people now that I see are not from my demographics. Most people, when I go in to visit family, they're from other nations, other continents, different from mine. Again, nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying it's changed, and it's changing quickly. And it's leaving the older communities, older black communities, especially during the C19, as I call it. I'm going to call it C19, what happened the past 3 years, starting from 2020 and now. I mean, yeah, so the C19, as I call it, some of us had the jab. Some of us had families and friends who had passed away. People lived in fear. But she said during this pandemic, as I call it, the crime went up the roof. And this happened while she was still in high school. She was still in high school. And so I see that during this time, the past few years, these teenagers, these young people had a hard time. I hope you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Just trying to get more comfortable. Just trying to get more comfortable here. Yeah, so the past 3 years, see, I want to talk about how this has affected, this C-19 has affected the community where, and near the community where I come from in Queens, New York. Again, it's an impoverished area. And surrounded by the community are new people. And but a lot of these people have businesses, starting small businesses, and they might have like a little restaurant, and people buy from them. So if you own your own company, all your profits go to you, right? The owner. But what about those people who live there who don't have businesses? A lot of the blacks, they don't have businesses. A lot of these people have the very young, a very important demographics within this black group are in prisons, are felons. And then during this pandemic, past 3 years, and the race riots, there was no harmony. And a lot of businesses shut down. A lot, at least in New York, in Manhattan, where I currently live. A lot of businesses shut down. And when they were promoting the race riots here, they were encouraging blacks to destroy property. I'm just being real. Any people could verify what I'm saying? Was it like this in your neighborhood? Was it like this? Let me know. Let me know in the comment section. What was your experience in your neighborhoods during the past 3 years? Were people build property and businesses being burnt down or looted? It was a lot of looting. It wasn't a lot of fight. It was a lot of looting. That's what I meant to say. I said fight, but I meant to say looting and stealing. But yeah, so I'm listening to this girl. What I did understand with this girl, again, she was dressed normal, but she didn't act normal. Like, because initially, she said, "Hey, what book you reading?" Okay, that sounds very social, right? And I don't have young people coming up to me asking me what book I'm reading. And so when I think that she wants to engage in conversation, she couldn't hold the conversation. That's what I'm getting at. She couldn't hold a conversation. She could initiate, but she lacks attention span. That's what I noticed. She couldn't keep a conversation. She get distracted. And anytime that phone or did whatever in her pocket or her book, she had to take it out and she started typing. She doesn't say excuse me or whatever. She just, boom, just start typing away, not saying anything or excuse me, whatever, because we're just about, we're just going to talk. And there was another thing I noticed. Before she pulled out her phone, like she was talking, but she would talk real fast. And then she'll, we were both sitting, and then she'll stop talking and look straight ahead like it was a blank wall. A blank stare, that's what I'm saying, a blank stare. And then she start talking again, rambling, and then stop. And I'm looking at her face. I said, what? I'm saying to myself, I want to be polite. She's only 19, she's a teenager. But the 3 years for her was traumatic. She was, because remember, they closed down the schools. And we had to wear that stupid thing on our face. Remember that? Remember that, people. This isn't all that long ago. This was intense. And again, this is in a severely economically oppressed neighborhood that she lived in. She lived in South Jamaica, Queens. Yeah, and started to become concerned about the girl. I said, hey, I'm saying to myself, I'm being polite. Why is she like, because she's talking, and then she turned her head, looked straight ahead, and a blank stare. Then she started talking again, blah blah blah. So, and then I responded, and she didn't listen. I mean, she didn't like give me the courtesy of finish what I was going to say. Then she takes out her phone again and just starts typing away. So I just disengaged because I see that there's something wrong. And it was a smell that came from, again, she looks very clean, yet she is wearing, urban wear, the hoodie, the straight leg pants, white, clean white sneakers, but there was a smell that was coming from her hair. It was a funky smell. But again, she looked nice. She looked clean, but she didn't smell clean. And this is Easter. This is Easter Day. And in the black community back in the day, you wore a cute little dress and all that. You going to church, whatever. She obviously is not going to church. And the smell that was coming from her hair. Ladies, if you gotta get those hair weaves, she had it like this long weave, but it was like put it in a like loose on top, like she had it like pulled up on top to hang down, and she wore a scarf around the hairline. But the smell, that was unreal. And you get a hairpiece, a weave, whatever, and if you're especially prone to sweating, or you wear a cap, some ladies wear these caps on their hair, and they used to do this in the Caribbean. I used to live in the Caribbean. Back in the day, in the Caribbean, the Jerry curl was in, and the black girls would wear these caps on their hair, and you have to keep the hair moist, and bacteria would grow. And so when the girls would take the cap off their head, they would take the cap off their head, but the bacteria would grow in the scalp, and the smell was unreal. Be very ladies, and I'm not trying to be mean, but you have to be careful. See, your hair is your glory, right? For most women, but keep it clean. You're going to use a hair product and put it here in a cap, and your scalp can't breathe. But the person sitting next to you could smell what's coming out from your head. And it's what if you want to go for a job? You got to be very particular. If you have a weave, it's so you have all that extra weight on your scalp and your hair, and your scalp can't breathe, and it's sweating, and the smell that's coming out, okay? And no one's telling you. You better wash that thing weekly. Man, it was unreal. And she looked like a regular young teenager from the black community, but hygiene. And again, people aren't really talking to each other because people are on the text, right? That's all she's doing. Right? So she's on the text. That's how the young people communicate through a text machine, your phone usually. And so you're not concerned about your hygiene because no one's there. So how are people going to people aren't in tune with their bodies. This youth, especially in the black community in New York City, we're disconnected from each other. And as I mentioned, the girl said it initially. She doesn't want to associate with the people from her community, where she lives anymore, because they're all into their phone and this and that, and okay. But we're human beings, so she doesn't see people as people, because you just don't disconnect from someone that you're talking to, and then just jump on your computer and start texting somebody, and you're not saying excuse me or whatever. So there's a lack of interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skill. There's no interpersonal skills, I notice. And these communities have no um, infrastructure. Yeah, also another thing I noticed in South Jamaica, Queens, the trendy restaurants, but none of them are black owned, black American owned at least. None of them. Yeah, I had wanted to go to one of those places for my birthday that passed. And the person that wanted to come with me, they were scared to go because of the neighborhood. And what neighborhood? That neighborhood, South Jamaica, Queens. So I'm saddened. I'm saddened that some people are afraid to even go there, or to even drive near there, because of the violence, the criminality there. But the people who own businesses are not from there. They're from another country. And again, this is not about bashing anyone because they're coming from another country. But I'm just saying that the locals do not have any business, any legal businesses there. Another thing I noticed when I was I took the train. That happened on the train. The young lady, 19-year-old. I had to transfer to get a bus, and at one point there was the corner store. You ever have these corner stores? We call it the candy store around the corner. Well, we have one of those in the neighborhood that my family lives in. It's like 2 blocks away, and it was like a long line. Yeah, when I was coming home, leaving there, yeah, it was like a long line, and I've been in the area for over 50 years, and there's never been a line. Yeah, this corner has very problematic stores that I think is very common in many Black American cities. You get the what looks like the candy store, and then you get a barber, and then this other questionable store. You don't really know what they sell. It has sometimes they have these weird things. I remember one time they had a doll, one plastic doll at the window, um, and then they had like a black curtain, so you don't see what's inside the store, but a doll, a baby girl doll, just kind of thrown on. It's really weird. And sometimes they change it, that particular store, but it seems obvious to me that something illicit is going on. And so you get the barber shop, the candy store, and then the questionable other one. And unfortunately, no one ever complains about this uh, section. It's always been like that. I've never, I may have once as a child, I might have entered in the candy store once, but I left right away. It's a bad vibes. And when I was leaving from seeing family in this neighborhood, there was a long line of these black folk, and none of them in their Easter best, none of them. Real streety looking people on a long line. I didn't know what sandwiches they were making, whatever. There, I don't know. But it was weird. They looked real I would not stop over there. Yet some stores have that bad vibration. And then they also do this in the black community here. Um, someone's always dying, right? Yeah, we had, and again, condolences. I'm not here to um, be insensitive. Um, they like to put murals on deceased people. That uh, people who die with what they call gun violence. This particular person died in another part of town. He may have worked at that barber shop, but I heard it on the news. This individual was parked in this remote area, and then he gets shot there. It just seemed really, because he's nothing there. I don't know why you would park and nothing there, and then the violence happens to him, and then they painted a mural right there on this thing. And I don't know. I mean, I I'm all for honoring, people who are past, but it just seems like in the black community, it just has a different twist to it that just pulls down the vibes of the neighborhood. And it's almost like marking a territory of death. And I don't like that. I don't like the feel that it gives in the community. I don't like graffiti. I don't like graffiti art or these mural. I don't like it because I don't like the spirit of death in any neighborhood. I don't. That's just me. That's just me. Um, but that's what that section is. That little the candy store thing. Um, so so what did I just talk about? I talked about a young 19-year-old from South Jamaica, Queens. It's right next to my community. It's like two neighborhoods down, extreme poverty. And the C-19, this pandemic, as I call it, has affected young people. See, they never talk about what, how this C-19, I'll call it C-19, how did this affect young people, especially black people that I'm a member of, okay? One time, yeah, mental health. This pandemic affected the lives of a lot of young teenagers who were in high school at the time. And in New York City, the schools were closed for months and months from a condition that does not affect young people. Less than 1% of the people of that age group were affected by this thing. But they went to the system here went to such extreme to lock down people who were not at risk to then become mentally ill. No, I'm not a mental health provider. This is my opinion based on uh, accounts of people who shared over social media, and again, my personal experience with young people where I live, young black people where I live. They are cuckoo here in New York City. Cuckoo. Within the 3 years here, uh, two attempts on me when I was just to uh, see family or go for a walk. These guys here are mad and violent, druggies. Yeah, the mental health, how it affect the black community in New York City, they lost their mind. They don't know how to talk, to hold a conversation, because they just keep taking out their cell phone and they do the texting. Everybody's walking around looking at their smartphone and have become zombies. How do you think a zombie is supposed to function? Let's say you want to go to college. Well, that is uh, not an option for these people, I gather. You don't know how to communicate. You don't even know how to write a sentence. I notice sometimes I get comments. No one uses punctuation. You don't know when one sentence ends and another one begins. They don't know how to write. They write in code, right? Yeah, abbreviated words. They don't know how to spell. You know, a lot of these people, they don't know how to write scripts. So let's say you want to write a letter. You don't do it. No one's writing little letters, script. Usually, like, people will write script. You know, you're writing a friend a letter. You usually write in script. Well, people in public schools, they don't know how to write in script. And I was told they don't know how to read time. You know, like you have the shorthand, the longhand. They don't know how to read a clock. So everything's digital, digital clocks. And I think it's so sad. But it's in particular the mental health of these young teenagers who don't know how to communicate with one another. The U.S., I talked about this last week about the buses. Um, the government has brought busloads of people from various parts of the Americas, poor people from other countries. It busloads, and they brought it over near where I live. When I get up early in the morning to walk my dogs, there were 4 busloads of the school buses to take these young children on these buses, and they bring them somewhere. I personally saw this. So, so don't you think it's going to be a competition? So what's happening? That the general population that could not afford to leave New York City, so it's uh, the demographics of the poor, the severe poor, generally black people, are now going to competing with jobs with newcomers, many of them illegal, the classrooms now have people from all over the world. Now you're going to feel like a foreigner in your own country because again you don't speak the language, you don't know the customs, and the stores that are that are being formed in these areas are not from their own people. And it's just something that the dynamics here in New York City, that when a new group comes in an area and they open up shop, then they start to despise the local population. And the local population feels this and they start to get angry. And then there's clashing of wills. And if you look like the opposition, they're not going to want to service you, or they start to treat you poorly. So me as an outsider, and again, I've always been around people from other countries. I also was in the military, so I'm used to, for the past 40 plus years, always around people from other countries. and I never had a problem, but I see now that the climate is changing. They don't know what's in my mind. They just assume because of my race that I'm a certain way because of the people that they do business around. These are new people, newly arrived. Past 3 years, many of these people came right at the pandemic. It's something else. So I feel that it's going to get worse here in New York City. But it seems like they're covering up what's really going on here and how it's going to affect Americans. Um, and many of you know that, again, I'm speaking through my perspective and my experiences. And this is not about bashing people who are different. This is about sharing how a pandemic being introduced, even though you're not at risk, and how it affects a demographics that I'm a part of. The rich people left. The people who have money, they left, or they sublease their apartments and then they have their second home. But who's stuck here are the very poor. And then they had the busloads of refugees. Some of them might be refugees and people who have economic severities or shortages in their lives being introduced by busloads. And this is changing the demographics so quickly, because in anything, you need adjustments. In any type of change, it has to be gradual. It's a stress for everybody, and the resources are limited here in New York City. And you're not working. Okay, a lot of these businesses shut down. In New York City, many of the businesses I used to go to for the past 40 plus years are gone. They're gone. People are now relying on making money using their computers. We're called digital nomads or stuff like that. They were encouraging that for the past 3 years to move abroad and do your computer work online, and somehow make money. Well, these people, you can't even keep a conversation. These teenagers, the girl I talked to, she'll be going on 20. She had bad hygiene, don't know how to hold a conversation. She's socially ill-equipped, but yet the people around her are being encouraged to come to the U.S., opening shops. The cops, I told you about almost 2 years ago, I got attacked in the street by a crazy person. And if I continued like that, I got the cop right away, and people pointed out the perpetrator. It was done in plain sight around 2:30 in the afternoon, packed with people. And the cop, I almost felt that the cop wanted to arrest me for telling them what this person did to me. It was very bizarre. Yeah, it's such a bad atmosphere here. I don't feel safe in my own country, my own town. The insanity. There is a lot of insanity in New York City with with the general black population. It's like you are the new criminal. But the real criminal who were attacking people, the mental, there are a lot of mental people here now. I mean, there's always been mental people in New York City, but now after the pandemic and then the new shipment of people, um, you don't know where these people come from. I mean, who are these people? And they're also setting up religious groups, different religious groups here. So this is also, I perceive, is going to be a clash in the near future. Religious wars, I perceive. Religious wars. They're quiet now. They're quiet. Again, your religion is your business. Your religion, what you choose for your spirituality, is your business. But I see social engineering in the making. That's what I'm getting at. Getting people from very, very different social, religious backgrounds from the general population, planting them in strategic areas and empowering them, and they're permitted enterprise. That's another thing here. Enterprise. They're allowed enterprise. They're allowed to start up their own stores and things like that. But the general black population is denied that access. They are denied social building up. They're not. They create laws. The system creates laws to prevent them from being able to start businesses, because many of these young people from the age of 18 to 30 something are felons. Are felons. They create, the system creates a negative environment and encourage cops to arrest and frisk these demographics. And they're promoting the alphabet soup. Am I lying to anybody here? Am I lying? Tell me, let me know if you don't believe what I'm saying. But the demographics that I come from is being set up. The alphabet soup is the ones that run the black towns. You have single female head of households, and many of them seem to be lovers of this new soup consumption of activity. And again, whatever what rocks your boat is your business. So, but if you have someone that likes this particular type of soup consumption, how are you going to build community? They don't want you to build community, but to be the angry black woman, um, uh, beating her kids if she does have kids. Um, there's no communication. And then you're surrounded by new ethnic groups, new religious groups. You don't speak their language. And there's a competition and a resentment. And then the men are in prison, jail. And so there's no money. So even if they get out of jail or prison, you don't have a job. And they're not hiring you either. They're hiring all these people from other countries and not the general black community of those ages, that age group, 18, let's make it 16 to like 30. They're nothing for them here. So this is what I wanted to also get at. Okay, so this is the social climate in New York City. And again, I'm reminded of this when I went to visit family again in one of the outer boroughs, Queens, New York, and South Jamaica, Queens, which is near where my family is from, is one of the poorest neighborhoods in New York City. In Queens, at least, it's the poorest. Violent crimes. It's a severe poverty, mostly blacks. But the people that have businesses there are not from that community, are not from the black community. They're others. And they're getting poorer and poorer. And then again, the alphabet soup is dividing the neighborhood. Um, so I felt pressured to do this video, to talk about this. Again, Easter was yesterday. And these are some of the things that I noticed. You know, I repeat, the young 19-year-old when I was on the train, and she looked physically clean, but the smell that was coming from her, and she couldn't hold a conversation, and she started looking catatonic, like she started to talk, ramble, and then she stopped and just stare in space. This happened several times. I realized these young black kids don't know how to communicate, and they might be in trauma. They might be actually in trauma. And when she left the train, she never said goodbye or anything like that. She just boop, just left like nothing happened. She's not mentally there. Oh, and forget about mental health. Let's say if a young person wants to go get mental health, well, it's not really there for them. This is what's happening. If even an adult wants to see a mental health provider, well, the mental health profession has been hijacked. You know who it's been hijacked by? It's hijacked by the alphabet soup weirdos. That's who dominate. Like I'm a veteran. Many of you who are regulars on my channel know that I'm a veteran. I went to, I needed to get some paperwork done, and to get, what do you call it, an emotional support animal. Like I have 3 little dogs, and I would like for them to be able to go on the plane with me if I, ever want to go away. So they said, well, you just have your mental health provider, a psychiatrist, to do the paperwork for you. So I'm upfront. I like to be upfront with people. I don't like to waste people's time. I like them to know upfront. And so I told them that I need this paperwork done for X, Y, and Z. It's okay. You need to go through the process. You first see so-and-so, and then from there, so-and-so will, you get to see the psychiatrist. I said, okay. So I talked to the first person. I think we had to have several sessions or something. So I said, I'm to see, so I was fun to see the actual person, the psychiatrist, to do the form paperwork. Just trying to get comfortable here. My hand's going to sleep. Oops. Okay. Sorry. So when I get to the office to see the person see the person in person, a woman asked me, this is what they do. They try to set you up. Oh, do you have a preference who you like to see? So I said, oh, okay, if you present it like that. I said, okay, I would like to see a Black American woman. Oh, well, we have a so-and-so. She gave a very exotic name. It was an Asian name. She says, "Oh, we have so and so. A lot of people like her, and blah blah blah." I said, "Oh, is she I said, "I'm sure she's really nice, but is she a Black American?" Oh, well, some people get this. People, she says, "Oh, well, some people don't like to use that word. Don't want to call themselves Black people." So I said, and again, the person who's telling me this is a Black American sounding woman, a very dark skinned Black American heavyset woman. But she is a psychologist and not a psychiatrist. She says, well, so and so really has a real good relationship with people here, and maybe I think she'd be perfect for you. So it sounds like it's against the law if you're a black, straight woman to request a black, straight woman. That's a no term. See, they don't recruit black women, straight black women. You have a woman in the health field in New York City, they're usually alphabet soup people, and they're there to encourage young black people to become and to encourage them to become attracted to that type of soup consumption, in my opinion. I didn't know, like when I was got out of the military and went to talk to someone, a mental health provider, um, I didn't know that the woman that was in the curriculum that I was in, she was a, what do you call it, a social worker. Yeah, a lot of the social workers are members of that soup consumption. And I didn't know about those soup consumption back in those days in the 1990s. I assumed she was a regular person. And then I bumped into her, maybe it could have been in 2019. And I bumped into her in the street. And she went out her way to say that she was married to a woman and that she had just died. She was in a relationship, she said, since the 1980s, early 80s. And she was married to someone outside of her race even. And I find that in New York City, this is another trend. So if they're not pushing the race narrative, somehow race doesn't seem to be an issue with the alphabet soup people. They're holding hands and marrying. Again, that is the business. Again, I'm not here to tell you who to love or marry. That's your business. Your business. But I'm just saying that what's being promoted or encouraged and how they have it set up so that if you're just an old school black person, whatever, the social workers that they have readily available for you are not people from your community or your mindset. These are people generally of the alphabet soup consumption takers wanting to encourage certain behaviors. And that's what happened to me in the 1990s. And I didn't understand things like that in those days. Yeah, things were still on the down low back in the 90s, very much in the down low. And you don't talk about, you didn't talk about those type of things, right? And I didn't know that was an issue in the black community, but they already set you up. Back then, they had the they knew what they were doing, and they wanted to inundate the mental health providers to be members of that community. That the whole infrastructure worked out in the 1990s. And again, in New York City, most of the people who are in the military, who did military work, are members of the black community, not the white community here.
In New York City, the people that they get, that they recruit, are black people in New York City. And so they have all these mental health people, social workers who are in general, if they're black, they're a member of the alphabet soup community, or they get Hispanics. They used to, back in the day, it used to be Jewish people, that whites and Jews, that dominated the mental health. But now they get at least social work. Some of the they seem to be the alphabet soup partakers, and so I thought it was really odd when I went to get paperwork done, and she got so angry. I never experienced this before. She got so angry after she asked me. I would have just taken anybody who was available, but she had said, "Do you have a preference?" Why ask if I had a preference and not like that I asked for a black American woman? I'm a black woman. If I were Chinese, I said, "Oh, I like a Chinese so and so." Or if you're Hispanic, "Oh, I like a Hispanic woman," but right? No, she would not have said anything, right? So why am I treated like I'm a criminal when she asks me, a black woman, to request a black female? I said, and they didn't have one. That's why she got angry. See, it was a psychiatrist that I had to see. She was a psychologist. Different, okay? I need a psychiatrist to do the paperwork for me. And I mentioned it up front why I needed the paperwork done. So I just go along with it, pretending it's not bothering me. I just needed paperwork done. So she was to call me, this woman with the exotic last name, and she calls. And I told her why I wanted to, why I had facilitated to meet with this person. She says, "Oh, I'm afraid I can't do that. I can, because I told her that I needed the paperwork for X, Y, and Z. Oh, that's not how we work here. We don't do that." I said, "Well, I said up front, and they told me this is what I needed to do, and that I'm just to talk to you." They said, "Well, we don't do that, because you have, see what they want you to do. They just want you to keep on going and going and going. Not that I had the paperwork for her to fill out." So I said, "Well, I said up front what I needed," and they said yes. So that didn't work out. But see, they don't want Black Americans to have healthy Black American experiences. So this poor 19-year-old that I bumped into in the train, uh, is probably going to get the social worker, and they're probably going to try to recruit her to experiment into a new lifestyle choice. Again, you're not supposed to say Black American. Can't say the black word. You can't, or what call it, African American. They don't have them. So here in New York City, we dominate. Black Americans dominate the veteran sector in New York City. They recruit us in New York City for military. But yet, when we get out of the military, they don't have psychiatrists, psychologists who are Black Americans. And they don't understand you, they don't trust you. The people that they do have as psychologists or psychiatrists, they are afraid of you. This is just my experience. They're not from your community, and they're not from the country either. That's another problem. It's setting us up. They are trying to make us into robots, or what they call medicated. Those medicines make you crazy. Again, that's just my opinion, just an opinion about things that I see. So I feel led to do this video, this live stream today. I hope you understand what I'm saying. I always talk from the heart. So when I went to visit family for Easter, again, there's really no Easter here in New York City anymore. I don't know whether they even had the Easter parade on Fifth Avenue. They used to have the Easter parade. Everybody's something else now in New York City. It's gone. The old school is gone, and any old school that remained here are in the dark. So I just felt led to do this live stream to share with you how the young demographics here, specifically in the Black community, how they're responding, how they're acting crazy. Yeah. So anytime I'm not over exaggerating. Anytime I go to visit Queens, New York, take the subway, the only Black people that you do see are crazies, especially the men. You mostly see men in the subway itself. No Black women. But surprisingly, that one young Black woman yesterday. Oh, that's right. And there was one other directly across from us on the train. A real fat Black woman, a little older. She looks like in her 30s, 40s, and she acting cuckoo, and she had her phone or something playing real loud, old R&B music, and just in her own world. I've seen her before on the train. Yeah, she gets off the same stop I did. Yeah, I've seen her before several times. Just kind of cuckoo. And then the men, the Black men, yeah, mostly when you go on the train, heading out to Queens, you see very, very aggressive Black guys. Crazy, crazy, crazy. I got so scared. It is so spooky. So, what is the issue now that what do I want to get at now with all this drama? Well, I'm documenting what I'm seeing because down the road, people are going to wonder, hey, what's been happening in New York City? Hey, how come we never heard this before? Well, you're hearing it now, and you're going to see what's going to happen here. So I'm doing this video also, live stream, because I want to I want to propose something. Yeah, many of you know that I wanted to leave. I was to leave the United States last October 2022, but it fell through. And I'm getting the itch again to want to leave after seeing what I've been seeing when I go on the train or the bus. But I started thinking, I said, wait a minute. I love my country, and I'm born and raised here. And I'm not, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I have to be realistic. When you move, it costs money to move. Your resources, social stability, around the world. Everywhere is being affected. And so I'm thinking, what would you do, people, if you were in my predicament? And again, you can always change the label from black to white to Hispanic to whatever what your label is. Let's say it's happening in your community, your demographics, whatever what that demographics would be. You just put your label. And if the same thing would happen to you, what will you do? So I was thinking, now we have a mayor. Yes. Uh, you notice that the largest cities in the United States all seem to have these black mayors. Don't you realize why they got these black mayors? Because this is my opinion. When you get a black mayor, baby, if you have money to leave, you better get the hell out. You better leave because it's chaos. And they're not there to protect black people. They're there to destroy us. See, we've been so brainwashed to be afraid of certain groups. So it's okay, I know that you're going to trust this person and that you blindly will follow them because you're colorblind to only like certain colors, right? Well, that is your demise. And they know how you think. And they put them in office, like Obama. Yeah, I voted for Obama the first time, not knowing that he was a tool for the system, for the demise of the country, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But they get these mayors, like Lightfoot. Thank God they kicked her out. Crazy, just a very bizarre woman. Bizarre. They get these bizarre women. Don't you notice also with her Lightfoot, Mayor Lightfoot? She is also an alphabet soup consumption person, and somehow the race card doesn't seem to apply to when you're in the alphabet soup community. She's married to a white female. Again, love is blind, right? Love is blind. You can marry who you want to. But somehow the race card doesn't seem to be an issue for the alphabet soup people. They get people, in my opinion, they set up these unions because, see, they want to tell you what to do. They marry these black people, these black women or black men, to spy on the community from these outside groups. Just an observation, in my opinion. Again, you love who you love, and you should marry who you want to marry. But just start noticing, even that therapist lady I was talking to you about, she too was married to another woman and a woman of a different race. Why is that? Well, in my opinion, they're spying on the black community. And they set them up in these unions. So it's like they don't want to encourage interracial unions if it's a black, what do we call it, a man and woman. They don't want that. See, they don't want you to reproduce. They don't want you to reproduce. Am I speaking truth, people? Am I? Am I speaking truth? Yeah, they don't want you to reproduce. They don't want to encourage black and whites if it's a man and woman. Oh, but it's okay if you're both the same gender. all of a sudden there's no racism if you're the same gender. Isn't that social engineering? So who gets the opportunity to reproduce in the black community? People now are having a difficulty time conceiving in the black community. They don't want us to reproduce. So anyway, getting back on track. What do you do? So I thought to myself last night. I was going to do this this live stream last night. A couple of hours earlier, but I fell asleep. But I started thinking though when I was still awake and I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about. I said, I really love New York City, but it's going through what it's going through. And we have a black mayor who is from South Jamaica, Queens, this neighborhood where this young 19-year-old that I saw on the train who seemed to need mental intervention and hygiene also. Okay, I'm not just trying to I'm not trying to shame people. You guys should know better that when I talk like this, I'm not here just to say bad things, but a wake-up call, what's going on. Yeah, our mayor is from South Jamaica, Queens, New York. The neighborhood that is so troubled, especially now after the pandemic. He's our mayor. And he hasn't done a damn thing during the C-19, this pandemic. Nothing. And this is controversial, what I'm going to say, I want to write a letter to the guy, this so-called mayor of mine. I want to write a letter, and I'm going to request a meeting with him. I am going to write one of my letters, and I'm going to request a meeting to correct and restore the black community in New York City. And I'm going to write in the letter my experiences with the illegals that are being shipped into my neighborhood and being catered to, and what he is going to do to correct the situation in the black community in New York City that he is a member of. He comes right out from South Jamaica, Queens, where that young lady came from, is living. I'm going to write a letter, and I'm going to demand a meeting with my mayor. That is what I'm going to do. And if he doesn't set, now he'll probably say, oh, so-and-so has a very busy schedule, right? So-and-so, he's so busy. He's busy doing nothing, in my opinion. But I'm going to demand a meeting. No, I shouldn't say demand. But I'm going to request a meeting. I have to be polite. I'm going to request a meeting. And I'm going to ask that we devise some type of intervention to heal the black community. Going to let him know what I see and what could be done. And what does he plan on doing? And if he's not going to devise any specific plan, because remember, this whole past, since 2020, remember about the president number 45 and how they were saying how so-called racist he is, I don't think he's a racist. And this one black YouTuber, this black female that I saw yesterday on social media, yeah, she was real. She used a lot of profanity. Black American woman, young, and that she's a pro-Trump supporter. And she said, everybody got a little racism in them, no matter what your race is. Let's stop the foolishness. She was funny, actually. She was real and she was raw. But see, Trump at least devised a plan, what he called the Platinum Plan. So I'm going to write my mayor, my black mayor of New York City. I'm going to ask him what Platinum Plan he has for our community and demand that he do changes and implement a Platinum Plan for us. Survival. See, I don't want to run away from New York. I love New York City. I've been here. I'm born and raised here. And I'm living where I live now for over 20 years. And again, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I'm not a young girl. I'm tired. And I don't want to feel forced to leave New York City, the place of my birth, where I was raised. I was recruited in the military here in New York City. This is my home. But I'm going to request a meeting with him to discuss what his plan is to correct the social pain that the black community is faced here. And if he says no, I'm not going to see you, whatever, I think I'm going to ask him this. Oh, sorry, my arm is hurting. I think I'm going to ask him this. I think I'm going to ask him for a reparations package to move me out of the country, because I'm not safe here. I think I might go there, people. See, I don't want to run away. I've never felt free here in New York City, in my country. But I love my country, but I'm not free here, in my opinion. And when Trump was in office, I started to feel good for the first time. I'm being real. See, we have to be honest with each other. You don't have to agree with what I say. I mean, everybody is entitled to their feelings. But when he was in office, I felt like an American for the first time. I felt that there was hope. But now that he's in chaos, at least he had dialogue and devised a plan specifically for the Black American community. But not this administration. This administration has been the death of many Black people. And I'm just thinking, if this Black mayor of mine, of New York City, does not implement a plan of action to heal our city, I think I'm going to ask him to give me a reparations package so I can leave the country. I'm fed up. I'm sad. I'm angry. And I'm disappointed at our leaders. So something severe has to be done to save America, to save New York City, to save Black America from itself, from its extinction. I'm going to write a letter to our mayor, mail it certified, return receipt. And if he refuses, I think I can't stay like this. I don't want to hide in my house, I mean, my apartment, afraid to go out. It's spooky. And the weather also has been getting real hot. In the summer, like after 10 a.m., it's too hot for me to go outside. So I'm stuck in my apartment. And my dogs, too, they can't tolerate the heat either. I don't want to live like this. I don't want to live in prison here in New York City because it's just too hot. It's too hot in the summer, and the weather's now getting warmer. I feel pressured to just say, please get me out of here. Please give me a reparations packet and to leave, that I leave, that you pay for me to leave this city. You don't want me here. You don't want black folk here. Then give us a reparations packet and get the fuck out of here. We're not wanted here. Yeah, I'm see. I feel I might need to do this. I don't want to live in prison here in my own country. I'm sick and tired of this alphabet soup consumption that dominates black politics here. I hate it. Again, you have a choice. You should have a choice what lifestyle you live. You live how you want to live. I'm not here to tell you how to live. What to do with your body. But if you're saying that it's okay for them to like what they like, it's okay for what I like. But that's not being promoted now. And for me to be asked by a mental health provider, because I needed someone to fill out paperwork for me to get a emotional support dog, and be reprimanded by a so-called black woman, how dare I ask that I wanted a black woman? You just asked me what my preference was. I would have taken anything that you were going to provide. But you yourself said, oh, well, do you have a preference? Who you like to see? So I said, oh, okay, since you presented like that, oh, how about a black American woman? Sorry. Sorry about that, the timer. But that's what happened to me. How dare I ask for someone like myself? But if I were Chinese, I said I wanted a Chinese person. If I was Hispanic, I said I wanted a Hispanic person. If it was a Jewish person, and there would not have been an issue. I even met one time on the train years ago. I was a student. And it was a black American sounding woman, dark skin. And we started a conversation. It's late at night on the train. And she was a mental health provider. And you know what she said directly to me? Now, this is a dark-skinned black American woman, heavy set. And she says that she works for Rikers Island. Rikers Island is a prison center in New York City. And she said that she refuses to provide mental health to any black people, and that she specifically requests Hispanics only. Could you believe that, people? This is what a black woman is telling me, that she refuses, that's the word she said, that she refuses black people to give mental health provisions and only requests Hispanic men. Only. I'm not making this up. And I listened. I didn't reprimand her. She's sharing what she feels like sharing. But how sad I was in my heart. See, they hire these black women, and they're so mentally scarred here Wow. Could you believe it? So I'm having a feeling that the woman that I saw to get the paperwork, the one that asked me what I wanted, I have a feeling she's the same type of woman as the one on the train that I met, the mental health provider. These are middle-aged, these are women like in their 30s or 40s. They're older people. This is what's here in New York City. These people, like someone taught me over YouTube, skin folk is not necessarily kinfolk. You hear that? Skin folk ain't kinfolk. Someone could look like you, talk like you, act like you, but not be you and not about you. And that's what's here in America. And I'm sure if it's happening in my community, it could be happening in your community. People that you think look like you, talk like you, maybe even go to your church or synagogue or mosque, but they're not about you. And they're about an agenda. They are about an agenda. And that's the real sad thing, that it's an agenda that's being promoted with the guise of what your race is, which is a lie. But they want you to believe in certain things and then use it as a weapon against you. So, I don't want to leave my country. I love my country. It's pretty good. Everybody else is coming to the United States and enjoying it. Why can't I enjoy it as an American, as a veteran? Why? Why? Why is it that we said to ourselves, oh, that's a prejudiced person? Yet this person is born and raised here in New York City, and everybody loved him before. But he has enemies who lie on him. He's far from perfect, that's true. He's not a perfect man, but I'm not a perfect person either. He's never professed that he's perfect. He's always was what you see, always. And so now it's like he was, what do you call it, impeach? What do you call it? Not impeach. Yeah, he was that, but arrested. He's our native son, whether you like it or not. Trump is an American. He's born and raised right here in my town. He's born in Queens, New York, like myself. And then he's has his place on Trump Towers in Manhattan, not far from where I live. This is a local man. He is our native son of New York. He's a native-born man. Most people I know are not native-born New Yorker. And he made a promise. He devised the Platinum Plan to improve the lives of Black America. And never did Obama do anything. Neither did he speak bold regarding the Black community, this so-called Obama. Never. Yes, I voted for Obama the first time, but not the second one, once I learned what he was really about. And again, I wasn't going to vote for him the first time, but I only voted for him the first time because the person I was to vote for, the name was not on the ballot. So I said, look, I'm going to try it out and hope for the best. And that's why I voted for him. And he was a waste. He was a waste to the Black community. And he's a waste for Chicago. He's not helping. That's where he's so-called from, where he got his popularity, Chicago. He abandoned Chicago. See what I mean? They can look like you, talk like you, but they're not about you. He's a fucking robot. America, you got to wake up. You got to start, write your letters. Write your letters to your leaders. And if they're not going to do anything, they say, maybe you should give me my reparations package and get me the hell out of here. Get out of here. I don't know what else to do. Either we're going to fix it, and if you're not going to fix it, get me the hell out of here. If you don't want me, get me out of here. I think I'm going to do that. Yeah, write your letters. Black people, write your letters. Hey, what are you doing to implement change, get us having our own businesses, promoting our own what good we do have of our culture. Let's bring back family. Let's bring back health. Let's bring back happiness in our community. Let's bring peace in our community. If they're not going to implement any plan of action to correct it, then you say, give me my reparations package and let me get the hell out of here. Let me know what you do. Yeah, write your comment below. Let me know. Yeah, share this video with your friends or family members. I don't know what to do. I feel like running. I'm scared. I see black people, weirdos. And this is supposed to represent me. And we have a black mayor who's doing nothing to correct it. I bet if we had a Chinese mayor, he'd be helping Chinese people. If it was a Hispanic, they're going to be helping Hispanic people. If they're Asian, they're going to help Asian people. Why is it against the law for black people, black mayors, to heal and help the black community? Why? So I'm going to write my letter, write a certified return receipt. I even put in my telephone number. I said, I would like to set up a meeting to discuss this. And if I don't get a response, then give me a reparations package so I can move with me and my dogs. I can't live like this. I cannot live a prisoner in my own house, my apartment. I can't live like this. Let me know what you think, what I should do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Everything's gone to put. I'm at my wit's end. I get anxiety. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you're doing in your community, regardless what your community it is. Let me know. Each one teach one. I thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this content. Yeah, and if you can give a donation, you can PayPal me on the link is on my channel on the top right of the banner. Just click on the link, my PayPal me link, follow the prompt, and any amount would be greatly appreciated. I thank you in advance for your financial support and your emotional support. Thank you again. Peace, love, joy, and harmony to the listener of this live stream, this day after Easter. I hope you all had a good Easter, regardless of your faith system. I hope you have a good day today. Okay? Thank you again. Peace, love, and joy to you all. Until next time, people, thank you for listening. Bye-bye.